Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
Welcome to the Apollo Audio Podcast. Hey! Oh, yay! This is a non-traditional, this is now a regular occurrence, albeit not a frequent one. I am not in the studio with my normal compatriot Billy Hills. I'm online with my other favourite person. Well, Billy will like that. With my other favourite person, Dan Thomas.
Hello, Martin. How are you?
Hello, Dan. I'm very well, thank you very much. I'm very well. Listeners will not know that we've spent about the last 45 minutes making sure that we don't ramble on the actual podcast.
Martin,
because
I was doing such a good job of selling the fact that I just jumped on.
I know. But we better, because normally we just talk endlessly about nonsense. I thought we better not record that bit.
Yeah, pretty sure one time it was like a bunch of Red Dwarf stuff.
Red Dwarf, Buffy, Star Trek, Star Wars, MCU, whatever. Yeah, anyway, too much.
All things nerd.
All things nerd from the 90s or 2000s.
Because that's the last time either of us were happy.
Last time either of us. I thought you were going to say it was the last time either of us were relevant.
It's the last time either of us had hair.
Well, that is true. It's definitely true for me. Welcome back to the podcast, Dan. It's about a year since we did this last time.
Yeah, it's about that. We were talking about the wonderful Fleetwood Mac album, Rumours.
That is correct, yes. I invited you to discuss a top album from the Rolling Stone 500 list, and that was the one that you picked, and that was a very popular choice. It's high up the list as well. We actually haven't done that many from the 500 list recently. We've been doing sort of non-list albums, but we got to do recently. We have done a couple from the list recently. We did a John Mayer album. Do you know John Mayer?
I do know John Mayer, yes. Not personally, obviously.
No.
I'm sure that would be good if I did know him personally.
It was good, yeah. New to me. It's one of those, know who John Mayer is, but haven't ever listened to a record by John Mayer. It was one of those, knew the name. A bit too polished for me.
I haven't ever listened to like a lot of his music. I did go to see him live once because my girlfriend at the time was a really big John Mayer fan, and we went for a weekend to Cardiff and went to the big arena there, and this was back in like 2010, and opening for him was Ellie Goulding.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a surprise.
And, it was just around the time that she was releasing things like Starry Eyed. So it's that like really early on in her career.
Yeah, that's her first album, right?
Yeah. And then, but yeah, at the time, my girlfriend absolutely loved him. So I never listened to like whole albums, but there are sort of certain choice songs that I've heard, and the ones I've heard, I really, really like. There's a song called Slow Dancing in a Burning Room, which is always like one of my, if I ever think of John Mayer, I'm like, yeah, that's a really good one. I think I need to go and listen to that again. And then you sit there and go, let that song wash over me.
Yeah, it's very much a let that wash over you kind of music. I said it was, I could appreciate it was really good. It was actually almost too good for my liking. It was a bit too polished, a bit too American.
Yeah, it's very radio friendly.
Sounded very expensive.
Yes. I was talking to someone the other day after a gig about Fleetwood Mac, bringing it back full circle a bit. We were talking about Tusk, the follow-up album to Rumours, and we were saying, I was saying to this guy, like, and he was in agreement of like, I wish I was somebody who could say I really liked Tusk, but I'm someone who respects Tusk as a fuck you to the executives who said, make another Rumours. And Lindsey Buckingham said, piss off, we're going to do this weird album instead.
Yeah, I'm doing this now.
Yeah, and I can imagine that would be something that Kurt Cobain would do, something like that, and be like, no, I mean, In Utero was essentially him going, I'm not making another Nevermind. Here's what we're making instead.
That's right, and it was just as successful. Well, not quite as successful. That's the thing. It's like that. Where'd you go? And what do you do when the thing that you think is going to be the fuck you turns out to be exceptionally successful? You go, I thought I was doing something to piss everyone off, but everyone likes it.
But at least, like you were saying, you were staying consistent with an artistic principle, I guess, as well. And so, for you to have been true to an artistic principle and had success with it, it's like, well, on that level, I guess you can't really complain. But
I guess no one sets out to make a bad album. I guess that's not the idea. No. Is not you're not. I mean, you might be making an album that's sort of contrary to. Like in those days when you did have big record labels and big executives and you're kind of going, look, you money guys can't tell me what to do. I'm the artist. I'm going to crack on and just do that. It doesn't mean that it doesn't turn out to be a bad idea as well as a bad album. I'm thinking, pointing the fingers at people like that I know of, like Neil Young, Metallica, Lou Reed, who have done, albums, made commercial suicide, if you like, made albums that people have gone, I'm sorry, what is this?
Some of those artists that you just mentioned, it was the same album, Lou Reed and Metallica.
That's true.
I was like, did you deliberately do Metallica and then say Lou Reed? Because I was like, well, if you're doing this name associations there, like, well, yeah, that was... Do you know what? Confession, I've never actually listened to that album. I've just heard everyone talk about it, so I cannot judge
why would you? That's kind of the thing, isn't it? Why would you, other than to go, I suppose I should at some point check it out, see if it really is as bad, because then what if it is? You think, well, why did I do that?
But speaking of people making bad albums, that's one thing that you and I didn't do, isn't it?
Oh,
Martin?
You're doing the segue. Okay, I would have been in charge of that, but no, well, but okay. Dan's on a clock. Obviously, he's got a time constraint. The reason, no, you're quite right. Move it along.
I just thought for a moment I would stop. I thought, you know what? It's usually me that keeps these conversations wobbling. I thought I will be relatively on the ball. It helps that on the camera I've got a copy of my album behind me, so I can actually see
reminder. Yeah,
it's
throttle
like
that conversation.
Going, oi, get back here.
Get back here. Yeah, throttle that conversation. Yeah, I wanted to get you back on. It was a year ago, and I think whilst we did do that conversation about Fleetwood Mac, which got us down that rabbit hole in the first place, that at that time we were saying we were nearly finished your debut album, which has been finished and is now imminently ready for release. So I thought it'd be nice to get you on and talk about your album. Do you want to announce it?
It is called This Is Where You'll Find Me.
By Dan Thomas.
By Dan Thomas, yes.
Sorry,
I guess that wasn't entirely clear. Yes, it's released
that kind of
my own name.
Without saying. It's called This Is Where You'll Find Me. It is a proper album and a debut album because you haven't done one of these before. So that makes it, by virtue of being the one you've never done before, this is your first one.
It is indeed. That's a very roundabout way of describing that. Yes, it's been a long road to get here. I remember you and I sitting down to talk about... We met at a pub in Stevenage to talk about the making of this album in August of 2023.
Wow.
Which is wild. That's coming up for 3 years now.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing about it is I remember in that conversation saying, ideally, I'd like to have like the recording of it all wrapped by December. Ha ha, ha 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 ha. We didn't even start until January of 2024.
We did have the recording wrapped by December the following year, pretty much.
Mostly. We had there were a lot of I was still working out like overdubs and
we did one or two overdubs
vocals,
but to be fair, at the time we had that conversation, some of the songs weren't even written at that point. I think you basically had sort of pretty much conceptualized everything, but there was one or two that were not yet complete or ready at that point, so we sort of knew it wasn't entirely set to be done.
And also there was the process of, especially as we were getting I wanted there to be a full complement of musicians, like with very minimal, like synthetic parts to it. So it was a case of demoing, putting together little demos at home with some programmed drums and me kind of doing some rudimentary bass and and the like, and then sending those things to you and my prospective collaborators, musicians on there to say this but better, please, and have them come in and us rehearse stuff together and get it to the point where we felt at least halfway confident that we could go in and hit marks in the studio. Yeah, it just took a while to schedule everything with my life, with the other guys' lives, with yours, with the studio. And then it just ended up being, here's the punchline. We're not even going to get started until after you actually wanted the blasted thing finished.
Yeah, but these things can take time. I'm not going to say they have to take time, but these things can take time, especially when you're not being handed a big pile of money to say, like, go off into the studio for 4 weeks and get this album done.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you said, you have to sort of coordinate it around other people. And I wanted to ask you about the sort of conceiving of this album. So when we had that discussion about it, was, as you said to me, I want to approach this differently to how we've done our previous recording, which was basically you and me.
Yeah.
I think on the second EP we did have a couple of guest artists who popped in and contributed something, but this was very much no, I want a band.
Yeah. That was very much what I wanted to do. When we first started working together, I knew that I'd had these songs, I had these ideas, and I wanted them to, I wanted something bigger around them, but I didn't have a sense of how to do that, what that really should sound like, because I was still trying to get a sense of who I was as an artist. Therefore, I came to you off the back of hearing your work with Dan Lumley's band at the time, Dusty Wagons. Yeah. And said, dude, who produced this? This sounds great. And he was like, oh yeah, it's this guy Martin. I'll get you in touch. And yeah, so we got together, and because I didn't really know where I was going with any of it, we kind of hashed it out between us, and you would sort of build arrangements around what I was doing, which I'd basically given you free rein to do, by virtue, if nothing else, of me not having the foggiest idea what I was doing. I had things I needed to learn. And I've always been really proud of the stuff that we did. But as I got further and further into what I hesitate to call my artist journey, because terms like that always make me feel like I'm being a bit pretentious. As I got further into that, I started to get more of a sense of who I was and what I wanted to sound like. And there was a lot more of like my rock and metal roots kind of coming through in my playing live. And it would always be a bit like more bombastic and not showy, like Freddie Mercury showy, but like just kind of had that big rock show energy to it. And it occurred to me that the recordings that we'd done, I looked back and thought, I don't know if these actually showcase what I'm about. I feel like if somebody was to see me live and go, oh yes, it's great, and then they'd listen to those recordings and they go, oh, this doesn't sound like how I thought it was going to sound, you know? So I thought, okay, I want to take a bunch of those songs that we've done and I want to reimagine them, but in this kind of this melting pot of styles where it's got some of like the folky stuff that I used to do mixed with like the sort of punky raw guitar sound in a way that felt more like authentically me. And to your lasting credit, I sat down with you at that pub and I said, this is what I want to do. And you were like, yeah, cool. That sounds great. Let's crack on. Let's go do it. And I was like, cool. Yes, this is good.
Yeah. Sometimes it's only hindsight that allows you to see these things clearer. But I feel like it's a good expression of your artist journey because, as you said, you're sort of, before we met, your previous history as a musician had been as frontman in a metal band. Yeah. Basically, right?
Yeah, most of my musical experience was that.
Yeah, and I think when we first started working together, you weren't doing that, so you were by yourself. And I think if I was to sort of look back at it now, I think, oh yeah, this was, you were finding a sort of, maybe I should be a bit more reserved. Maybe it was something like that. Okay, I'm not going to be that guy. It's just me. There's no band, so I need to kind of almost play a role that's a little bit more in that sort of folk singer-songwriter category. So when I think about the productions that we did, one of the sort of keys to it was to, like you said, build around the songs, but not swamp you, because it was just you. So didn't want to sort of hide you away. So everything that we did was basically you. It was like when we layered guitars, it was you playing the guitars, bass, and all those kinds of bits was basically you doing everything and layering vocals and stuff. And I was sort of adding stuff around the sort of foundations with drums and things to make that happen. But as I sort of look at it now and think, oh yeah, as you've grown in confidence in terms of who you are on stage solo, like you said, you've kind of found your feet again and gone, no, I am still the front man, even if it's just me. I can hold my own here, so I don't have to have that reservation. And like you said, your live shows are so full of energy and spirit and assertiveness, and you're just such a everything's sort of happening around you. Like it's not sort of you're demanding attention when you're on the stage, and in the best possible way, because it's like, this is what it is when you're sort of you're playing, you're kind of, oh, there's something going on there, I want to see what's happening, because it's all happening up on the stage, and your engagement with the audience and all that kind of thing. So I think as you've sort of grown in confidence, this is me sort of, maybe I'm talking out of turn, but I think as you've grown in confidence, that's allowed you to go, hey, I can build a band around me, because I don't have to carry it, but I can carry it because it will still be me.
I take no issue with anything you said there. In fact, actually, a lot of it sounds very nice and complimentary. So thank you very much.
It was meant to be.
Well, good. It felt that way. As for my persona on stage, I make it quite difficult to ignore me. Let's put it that way. It's very much like, oi! How you doing, everybody? You're right. It's like, God, isn't it acoustic night? But what you said is very true. It's like the early on, when I went from doing like the big rock show frontman thing to picking up a guitar, because I'd also never accompanied myself either. I'd never played an instrument, so I was used to just being like the voice. And especially when I was early on in my journey learning to play guitar, I was having to kind of concentrate a bit more, I guess, on what I was doing, because I was still learning the skill. But also at the same time, going to like acoustic music, and especially with what everything that was going on in music at the time, like this was sort of peak Ed Sheeran time, really, and that kind of like guitar based acoustic-y music. It's like when like Vance Joy with Riptide, it was Passenger being around, it was all that sort of thing, and everyone around me was a little bit more like that as well. And I think I had this idea that being an acoustic musician and going into sort of the folkier side of things meant that I had to make things very small and delicate and not be showy, which was really difficult for me because that's not the world that I come from. I mean, it was a good learning exercise. I can do those sorts of shows now. In fact, the last gig that I did, I ended up playing a show in quite a posh restaurant in Stevenage at the weekend just gone, a place called Lavish. And I got there, did not realize exactly how posh it was when I got booked for it. And I was like, I don't know if they're going to be able to, I don't know if it'd be a good idea for me to do the normal show in here.
Am I all right in this shirt?
I did get away with my usual stuff, my usual look. Good. But no, it was a really good show actually. And I still managed to get like, I was still authentically me, but it was just a little bit like I played some slightly softer stuff that I don't often get to play.
But I think there's less of a mismatch now, I guess. That's kind of what I think, that sort of your songwriting has caught up with your stagecraft.
Yes,
I think so. Put it that way.
Yeah, it's and again, it's been a process. It's been like a journey, and it's like one of those things that you can't possibly know. Like I couldn't have been the artist that I am now at the start. I couldn't have just, if someone had said to me, why don't you just do it like that? It wouldn't have been the same, because I had to go through all that and learn more about how I write on my own and what my sensibilities are. It's the sort of thing that all artists and all bands, I think, go through, because it's the process that you end up going through. You either end up, things don't work and the band or whatever dissolves and you go your separate ways, or you kind of keep pushing through, finding out the bits that work, jettisoning the bits that don't work, and you kind of dig deeper through to like this identity where you go, yes, this feels not necessarily, whilst that doesn't necessarily mean it's then static, but you get to something where you feel like, okay, we've stumbled upon the core of what it is that this project is about. And then you can start building that out from there. And that's when stuff gets really, really exciting for artists.
So that brings me on to the album itself, I guess. Like I said, you kind of got this, the songs had started to become, you started to connect, I suppose, with all right, this is who I am, and this feels a bit more comfortable. I know how I want to present these. What's your relationship with album? I mean, I'm very positive about the whole concept of albums. And even though I keep seeing people saying the album is dead, people seem to make them, people seem to buy them. So I'm not following that thread that says no one wants albums anymore, because that doesn't seem to be true. But what was your thinking? You said, when did it sort of occur to you? I know, I should make an album.
I mean, first, I think that idea of the album being dead, I think it is now and has always been absolute bullshit that it's dead. Like you say, people are still buying them. I think that there's still a lot of mileage that you can get out of the album, because it allows you, without sounding too pretentious about it, but it allows you to tell a story in a way that a bunch of singles just can't, and a way that an EP could, but it's far more limited. Like, as an example, with this album, the songs written, like the most recent one on there, the last one to be written was written in December of 2023. The oldest song on there has its origins from 2007. So they are across a vast period of time, and so therefore you'd think that would make them potentially quite disparate. But just to reveal to people at home, how the sausage is made a little bit here. There's a thing you do when you're making albums called sequencing, which is basically a fancy way of describing what order the songs go in. And sequencing is quite hard a lot of the time, because you don't necessarily write the songs with any order in mind, unless you're putting together some form of concept album or what have you. The songs come when they come, and then you go and decide, these ones feel like they can make a record with these, and you go and make them, and then you have to decide, right, what order do they sit in? And you suddenly have to think about it and go, you just somehow get this idea when you're consuming music that somehow those songs arrived in that order, but no, they don't.
Or that it's just random.
Yeah, or that it's random.
Or it doesn't matter. And then you go, well, actually, no, as you said, there's something feels right about the right way. And it's just like, I can't just put them in any old order, because then you go, well, that doesn't belong there. That one needs to go after this one. This one should be earlier. That one needs to be at the end. And you can't really conceive a sort of, I don't know, there's no mathematical process that allows you to establish how that goes. This speaks to art itself. It's all about instinct. It's all about gut. It goes, that feels right.
Yeah. And I think that I've definitely struggled with sequencing things in the past, but with this album, I felt like when they arrived, I looked, and it was actually a really quick process compared to what I thought it was going to be, especially as I had more songs than I've ever had to do it with before. But very quickly, I was looking at the songs and realized that if you put them in a certain order, it does tell a story that felt quite natural, and it felt like it moved through my life in a certain way, whilst using some artistic license, obviously. It had a narrative arc to it that was not planned, but it came out, and it really helped make the theme and thesis of the album really like coherent. Because I mean, the album's called "This Is Where You'll Find Me," which is based on earlier on in my career, when people would ask me what kind of music that I do, and I said that if you were to draw a Venn diagram between rock, folk and country, that spot in the middle is where you'll find me. And for ages I thought, "This Is Where You'll Find Me" would be such a good title for an album, and I could see the kind of early stage of that, the album art in my mind's eye, of like the Venn diagram with the 3 circles and then like a little dot in the middle, and then that dot, and with "This Is Where You'll Find Me" under it. But I kept thinking, it's like, it feels like there should probably be a song that goes with that. And then between us having the conversation about making the record and us going into the studio to record it, I was out for a walk. At least sometimes I like to take long walks out and around where I live. And it suddenly clicked. I had this, because I'd been thinking about like the artist journey that I'd been on, and about how I'd moved from doing rock-based and metal music to doing folk, and then it's sort of going a bit more country-esque in parts. And it suddenly the song became a story about me moving through all of those things and then arriving at a place where I could bring all of my influences, all of the pieces of me together to make the whole. And to that end, like that's the song that starts the album off, that's almost sort of shouts like, "This is my mission statement," and then it takes you through a story of my life that sort of shows me kind of moving through different phases of my life and arriving at, to quote Arnold Rimmer, one glorious whole at the end. That really got away from me right at the end.
Anything that finishes with a quote from Arnold Rimmer, I'm not sure is something to be proud of. Although I did quote Arnold Rimmer at my 30th birthday as well, with a bunch of people in a restaurant.
What did you
used
say?
his classic. I had to make a speech. So I did the over time. I've come to think of you as people that I met.
That's a great one. That's a good quote. I've actually got, you can't see it from here, I've got a signed picture of Chloe Annette on my wall up there.
Wonderful.
It's very cool. I met Chloe Annette in Harlow one time, and she was signing autographs.
Amazing.
Just looked up as we were talking about. I was like, oh look, there's Chloe Annette.
Well, I have a closer affinity with Claire Grogan.
Obviously, yes, that makes sense. And then it gets to the later seasons, and it talks about when she says about like growing up in the trendiest part of Glasgow, and it's like, with that accent, I don't fucking believe you, mate. Claire Grogan, yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, I believe that.
Chloe Annette? No, not so much.
For people who have no clue about Red Dwarf, none of this will make sense.
If it ends up in the pod at all.
This bit may be excised. I can see the album in the background of the video call here, so I can see that, as you said, you followed through with the Venn diagram and that whole sort of conception of it. And I said the sequence, although it's not a sort of the way that you described it, is it some kind of concept album, or is it sort of some narrative thing? Not really, but like you said, it's this is where albums come into their own, isn't there? That there's a sort of oh, that makes sense. I can see what's being said here as a cohesive thing rather than just a bunch of songs.
There's a difference between a bunch of songs and an album, and I will die on that hill.
Yeah, and this definitely counts as an album rather than a bunch of songs, because it's got that cohesion, it's got that narrative flow, it's got that sense of telling something about you and life and your experiences and all that kind of stuff that's come out through it.
Yeah, it's like it's come together in a way that feels like I said, they were written with such a wide time frame between them, but like they somehow have come together to sort of be like a cohesive story in a sense, even in what amounts to quite a loose way, but it's a way that works.
But so, like you said, it's almost like you found that keystone right at the end. So, well, how does this all pull together? And it took sort of one final song to go, that's it. Now it all feels like everything belongs together. That's the thing that pulls it all into one thing, which I think is fascinating. We started talking about this, first of all, quite a long time ago, but we're now imminently at point of release. So we should say about that, because that's coming up now. So that's exciting.
It is, yeah, it's exciting. It's doubly so because it is being released on April the 27th, which is not coincidentally my 40th birthday.
Amazing. How about that?
It's my unique take on a midlife crisis, and I thought it was a lot. I thought it was cooler than buying a sports car.
Dan, my entire career is a unique take on a midlife crisis. So I empathise.
Amazing. 10 out of 10. No notes. That was great. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know what to say to that now.
Well, April 27th is the release day of the album.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that you can't do anything now. It's not like, wait, you can if you want to get involved right now. There's a couple of things that are happening around that, so you can. What's your website address? Because people there, because you can go there and find out about the album, the various versions that it's in, and also you've got a launch event coming up as well, haven't you?
That's correct. Yes. So my website is www.danthomassolo.com. That would be Dan, short for Daniel, Thomas like the tank engine, Solo as in Han Solo. You can tell how much fun I have saying that. Yeah, danthomassolo.com. As Martin said, you can find on there links to where you can buy the album as a digital download on CD, which comes with a lovely 12-page booklet with loads of lyrics and artwork and everything. Or you can also buy it for the very first time. You can buy my music on vinyl. I'm so excited about the fact that I have a vinyl now.
Well, I'm tremendously excited about that.
Behind me. Yeah,
that's amazing.
And it's also that's thanks to you as well, because you got me in touch with you put me on the radar of Elastic Stage, the print on demand vinyl service that allows minnows in the music industry like me to be able to have vinyl releases without having to pay out for massive orders that would absolutely bankrupt me. But yeah, I have the very first, the test pressing in this office now. And the day it arrived, the look on my face was, and the feeling was like, oh my God, I've got an album that's on vinyl. And I took it out and then I thought immediately I've got to put this on my turntables. And I'm like, oh, I'm listening to something that I made on a vinyl. Record. That's amazing. It's like more so than like when I've had it on CDs, and doing it on CDs always been great as well, and audio fidelity for the win and everything. But just having a copy of it on vinyl, and then also having that artwork in like the dimensions blown up in the way that
there's something just right about it, isn't it? It's like the album concept in itself, the idea of vinyl as a carrier. CD, I agree with you as well. It's one of those things that all those physical things allow you to have that experience of I made this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it goes further than that as well. I think for the people who respond to your music, that they can own that as well. Like they feel a physical connection with something. I think that stands for a lot as well. That they will, because I'm as excited, maybe not as excited. No, probably I am as excited about the release day of your album. The fact that I know I've got it on order and I know it's going to arrive through my door, and I'm going to have one of the best days when that arrives. Because those are always the best days when I get new music. It's just amazing. But to be getting new music from someone that I've worked with, someone who I know has put so much effort and time and passion and energy into creating the music, I think all of these things are so important that of course it's about the song, but it's actually a lot of what we've been talking about and a lot of what we're just saying is all about connection and how you connect with people and how you create a culture around a group of people. As you said, you wanted to build a band. That's a group of people. The audience, how you connect with your audience, the way that you present yourself on stage. All of these things are not just about I made a song. Yes, that, but that's such a small part of it, really.
Yeah, you're right, and thank you for the wonderful things you said there. But in addition to that, is an extra thing for you is the fact that you get to have the vinyl arrive, and you can also hold that in your hand and go, I had a part in making this. This is like, because it's not just something that I made, it's something that I made in collaboration with a lot of people, not least of all yourself, like being very much overseeing the whole process, being the producer, the mixer, the editor, the the engineer, like the general dog's body to my weird ideas that I would have. Like with the title track where I was like, I want to do this weird thing where like in each of the verses, it has the trappings of that particular genre. And I remember being like, because we had a conversation at one point about like artists kind of, we should actually kind of just go for the ideas that we want and like have the guts to try stuff. And I'd been thinking about it already. And I there was a little bit of me that was just a little bit scared to kind of like push the idea of like, is that going to be hokey? Is it going to be a bit nuts? But then we had that conversation. I was like, actually, Martin, you know what? I've had this idea. I want to try this with this song. And you're like, yeah, cool. Let's give it a crack. And it worked. Or at least I feel like it worked. It might be that it comes out and everybody says, don't know about that. To which I'll go, well, right. I gave a thing a go. People didn't respond to it, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was bad. It just means it was something that was just something that I liked, and that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
But I also think that that's unlikely because there are 8 billion of us on this planet. Someone is going to like your weird shit.
Absolutely right.
That's the economy.
I am
we
one
live
of
in
those
now.
people who likes your weird shit, Dan. I'm very pleased to say. That feels like a good place to stop. I'm one of those people that likes your weird shit is the best way to sum up a conversation I can think of. As always, Dan, as you know, I could talk to you for a very long period of time about multiple subjects, but we've tried to keep this fairly tight about music and your album. Give us one last blast of all the details that people need to know about what they can buy, where, and what they should do about it.
There are plenty of good things that you good folk listening could do about it. You can go to my website, damnthomassolo.com. There are links there to buy the album, like I say, in all the different formats. It will link to Bandcamp to get my album on digital download or CD. And also, if you buy the CD, it comes with a digital download, you lucky people. Or you can head to elasticstage.com via my website and get the vinyl version. And the additional thing that you can do, on the 30th of April, I will be having an album launch party, which also doubles as my 40th birthday party at the Portland Arms in Cambridge. And I will be performing live with, for the very first time, a full backing band, and it's going to sound absolutely monstrous in a good way, not like bad monstrous, but good monstrous. The tickets are available for that. You can find there will be a link in the tour section on my website, or you can go to the Portland Arms website in Cambridge. I believe that would be theportlandarms.com. But failing that, you can find it on my website. Please buy tickets if you can. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic show. I've got some brilliant support artists on the bill for it as well. I am very, 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 very excited for the show.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations again. Look forward to everything coming out. And thanks for joining me on the podcast. This has been the Apollo Audio Podcast Dan Thomas special. Don't say that. I don't think I've ever said that about an Apollo Audio podcast before. The Apollo Audio Podcast Dan Thomas special was brought to you by me, Martin Lumsden, and him, Dan Thomas. You can find us on Instagram at Apollo Audio Podcast. You can send us an email if you really want to do that. No one ever does. It is apolloaudiopod@gmail.com. More importantly, if you are interested in this whole process of making music, whether it's learning how to play, rehearsing the songs you've done, or getting them on record, you can find us. I am at Martin Lumsden on Instagram. FruityMusic.com's website, and you can find all the details of the studio, apollo-audio.co.uk. Thank you, Dan.
He is indeed at Martin. Thank you, Martin.
I'll see you very soon.
Take care, buddy. Bye.
You sure you forgive me?